Hello everybody from Crafting and Cruising. This is Rodney Seiler. I'm in here substituting for Lisa. Lisa's out cruising today, so I thought I'd take the opportunity at lunchtime just to sneak over here and do a little crafting in our motorhome, in her little studio that we've got built in here. So I know it's not even 12. I told people I'd be coming on at noon, so we just got a little head start. I just want to introduce myself, and I'll do it again when more people get on. I just thought I would get an early start. Sometimes people say they're going to be on and they're 20 minutes late, and that kind of aggravates me, so I tend to be a little early on things. Anyway, again, it's Rodney Seiler. My wife is Lisa. She's the primary crafter, and I'm just the helper, but I thought I would sit in today and take a shot at this while she's out traveling around, helping out our daughter in Kentucky. And she'll be back, I guess, tomorrow sometime. Anyway, today's project, I guess before we get started with today's project, I was just going to show you what I was working on last night. My sister sent me a little thing the other day because at holidays we always have the solo cups and people put their name on them and stuff like that. So she sent me a picture she had found online somewhere and said, "Can you make me one of these?" So it's basically just a square or something like this that'll hold a solo cup. I don't even have one out here, so it's not a real good example, but basically you invert a big stack of solo cups on here, stick you a couple of magic markers in there so people can write their name on them, and it makes, you can just sit on the cabinet somewhere and it keeps the cups from getting scattered around, and it keeps the marker right there with the cup. So she's probably going to be watching this and she'll find out what she's getting for Christmas, one of the things anyway. So that's a cute little wooden thing. I like to make a lot of things in my basement. I've got all kinds of power tools and stuff down there, so I do that. It's 11:59. We're getting close to time for people to start jumping on. Hey, it looks like Lisa Lanier is watching. Lisa Lanier Seiler. I think I know her. That's the crafter herself. Welcome, Lisa. I won't be able to type back responses right now, but I'll take some notes and follow back up on this and get some responses to people. Hope I didn't say too much bad about you. There's Joyce. Hello, Joyce. And, oh, she says she saw it. Okay. Anyway, I hope the glare off my bald head's not bothering y'all too much. I know the light's kind of bright, but that'll keep the work looking good down here. And maybe next time I'll get one of those visors or screens like the card dealers use. I think that's to keep the glare off of things. Something else here. You're going. Anyway, so we're going. It is now high noon at the OK Corral. So I'll start telling y'all a little bit about the project while we get started here. What I want to do today is a simple project. This is one, even, I guess the decorating part, even kindergartners could do. You could do this with grandkids or kids or whatever. But I wanted to make some little Christmas trees. And a few years ago, I noticed my garage I noticed these white boxes kept kind of stacking up. Sometimes around holidays, people will send us some either Omaha steaks or something like that as a present, and they'll come in a real thick styrofoam box already frozen, and this is probably 2-inch thick styrofoam, and they look like, oh, they'd be real good coolers. Let's hang on to them. They'd be good for something. But trouble is, they kind of rarely use them. So a few years ago, I cut them up into little squares or rectangles, and my daughter was helping out with school with some little kids' projects. So I cut them in the shape of Christmas trees and sent them off to school, and they painted them with tempera paints and things like that and made pretty Christmas trees for all the kids to take home. So that was a good use of them. And then I got to thinking the other day, well, maybe I'll just throw out, I probably got 100 of those left down there in the basement. They're already cut out in different states of completion, I guess. Some of them are just triangles, some of them are not. So I thought I'd go through the process here and tell folks how to do it. Still see things scrolling up. Let's see if they're still scrolling. Yep, they are. So I started out, if you got one of these thick coolers, styrofoam about like this, and I just drew the shape of a tree on this one as an example. I like the trees to be something other than straight up and down, like the wind's blowing a little bit or something. But what you can do with one like this is you can take I use a serrated knife, and I like to use a bread knife because it doesn't have a sharp point on it. But you can take a serrated knife, always cutting away from yourself, they say. If the camera weren't on, I'd be cutting toward myself or anywhere else. But since the camera's on, we'll do it official. you can use it like a saw, or you can use a small saw and cut the shape of the tree out. The thicker it is, the harder it is to push through. But you gotta be careful. You don't want to cut any appendages off. There you go. Now, got the shape of the tree. In the trash. Now you can also go in here, and like I did, and you can cut some little places in here to make it look like limbs. Like that. Be very careful. If you're good at this, you should be able to slice up the Thanksgiving turkey real well. So I'm not going to take all the time to cut one of those out, but you see how it's done. And then when you get that all cut out, you should have something like this. This is more cuts than you really need. Just say, Gail Dobbs. Somebody join in there, Gail. Thanks for hopping on, Gail. Anyway, this is a cutout of a styrofoam Christmas tree made from a Omaha steak box that we had gathered up in the basement for those that are just joining in. So somehow I got to get things to stick to this, and white's not the best thing for a tree anyway, so I wanted to have some green color. So what I did was I had an old can of Elmer's glue. You can tell this is kind of aged, and it's been in the basement for years, but the top's already lost off of it, so it got kind of thick. So I put some water in there, loosened it up good. I took just an empty container. Now this is an Ensure bottle for those old people like us that earlier in the spring I was a little bit sick, and the doctors told me to start drinking some of this. So, but it's real nice bottles to use for crafting things because they seal back up good. Anyway, I'll mix some water with Elmer's glue, bend it down real good. And I'll go through with that bottle forever. And then I wanted some color to it, so I added a little bit of green. Whatever color you want your tree to be. Now, I didn't use this last night when I did one, but this is some Waverly agave chalk paint, and I happen to think that might make it look a little bit like a Colorado blue spruce, which is my favorite evergreen tree, but they don't grow around here very well, unfortunately. The cold weather, or the warm weather, kills them out. So we've got some, this is all going to be backwards to you, but we've got glue, water, and paint. And shake it up. I kind of like it, the fact that it shake it up like this, it bubbles, and then the bubbles, I think, kind of add to how the glue lays down, makes it a little less uniform. All right, now we've got glue, water, and paint all mixed up. And I stole one of Lisa's good paintbrushes here. Hope she doesn't mind. Who else is on here? Hey, Gail. There's Lisa still there. And Joyce is on. Hello, Joyce. Oh, look, got a nice pretty bubble on top. So what I'm going to do, we don't necessarily have to paint the bottom, but it's going to get probably painted anyway. But what we're doing here, we're putting glue and a little color on here. And the painting does not matter how pretty it is, because all it's doing is giving you a little color and a place for the things to stick. And what we're going to put on here is glitter, but I bought some. You can just use any old glitter you've got to work fine, because it kind of ends up looking like Christmas ornaments when you get it on there. I'm going to turn this upside down so that the glue will run down in those cracks real good. And then some from the top will run down to the bottom maybe. Oh yeah. What's going on? Can I read and paint? Some of the folks that do these crafts online don't even have to look at what they're doing. But right now I'm a novice at this. I'm a kind of a jack of all trades and master of none. But we get this on there, we'll make it look pretty. That's not as blue as a California blue or Colorado blue spruce, but it's pretty. If you just use straight paint, it takes a lot of paint, and in the end you're going to cover most of it up, so it didn't seem important to me to just use straight paint, because glitter would have stuck to paint too. The other side of that is that then the paint sticks to all your extra glitter, and you can't necessarily reuse your extra glitter that you have. So you can be thinking about, well, if you were doing this, how would you go about getting the glitter to get down into all these crevices and everything? And we'll deal with that in just a few minutes. What we got going on here? Pamela Smith Floors is watching. Hey Pamela, thanks for tuning in. If y'all don't mind sharing this out to your friends, there might be some people out there that want to do a little craft like this with some grandkids. You can see how, we're not using, other than the knife, really don't want to turn him loose with a big knife. But if you had it already cut out, you could get all the little grandkids gathered around, and they would love dealing with glitter and glue, and something as light and easy to deal with as styrofoam. And if they broke it, no big deal. It's just a piece of styrofoam. So I can see people having a lot of fun with this, and even when they're all done with it, on the bottom they could write their name and the year, and then years later when they're all grown up, go back and look at it and think, I did that when I was 4 years old. Now, it looks a little like a Christmas tree there. So put that in the water. Set this aside. Now, Lisa, I apologize for getting paint all over your stuff here. It was perfectly clean when I got started. Where did my bag go? Here it is, right in front of my face. I took not the small Kroger bags, but the bigger kind like they do with the Quick List, size bigger. As you can see, I've already got a little glitter in here. But I've got different kinds here. Just take the tops off then where I can really work with them. Who else is on here? Don't use that. Oh, I got you. I used an S word that I wasn't supposed to use on Facebook. When I was talking about y'all spreading the love, is that some of the terminologies, the euphemism that we hear a lot? Okay, here we go. Glitter, just for the start, go ahead and sprinkle a little on there since it was in the bottom of the bag. And then in the last one I didn't use any red. This is multicolored glitter. It is Fall Crafts. I'm not sure where Lisa got this, but I'm going to use a little of it. Red in there. Just kind of like spicing up food. We probably want some silver, so oops, not too much there. A little silver, maybe a little gold. Oops, too much. And some green. Ooh, that's pretty. Now, got all in the bag, still nice and wet as you can see. Gather it up. Just make sure you kind of got it closed up. And then it's like shake and bake. Now, yeah. Hope nobody gets motion sickness. Man. Oh, and the glitter, I just realized, has stars and all kinds of different shapes mixed in with it. Ta-da! One instant pretty Christmas tree with lots of glitter and stars and everything else. And you've got enough glitter in that bag to do probably 2 or 3 more. So here's one that I did today with all y'all's help. Thank you. Here's one I did yesterday just to make sure that I could in fact do it. It went pretty quick, didn't it? Probably too quick for everybody. But now you can go ahead and have lunch. Those of you that took off lunch to do this, we got those done in 12 minutes. So it might take a little longer if you have to actually saw your Christmas tree out. It doesn't have to be a Christmas tree. You're crafters out there. You can think of things that are that might could do similar. You know, it could be a snowman. That might be a good way to just cut out the shape of a snowman and put stuff all over him. You could do, it doesn't have to be Christmas. You could do something at Easter. Make you an Easter bunny and fix him up. But it's pretty quick. It's a good way to use up that old styrofoam you've got laying around. Make something cute to sit on the mantle or sit around the house. And it's not like you went out and spent a bunch of money on it. So if somebody breaks it or steps on it, no big deal. You just make another one. So let's see if there's any questions or anything. Someone says, beautiful, thank you. Ta-da! And thank you for saying I did a great job. Those are so pretty. I love the leaning tree. Yeah, I did. I like to cut them. You can, they're different shapes. This one doesn't have the notches on the back, but you can make a whole forest of them like the wind's all blowing one way. Or if you've got a nativity set, you could put it down near there, even though I don't think they had a lot of evergreens like that where the original nativity took place. But I've seen nativity sets made out of coconuts and anything anybody has handy. So, yeah, you could do something like that. Oh, I see somebody must be on Lisa's phone. I bet that's Brittany. Anyway, that's the craft for today. Short and simple. Pass this along to your friends if you got anybody you think might want to do some of those. And nice little craft. And I got rid of a few more pieces of styrofoam, a few hundred more to go. So everybody, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for the hearts and for passing this along to other folks. And see you next time. Bye-bye. I can figure out how to finish this.